أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Hadith are records detailing the sayings or the actions of the blessed Prophet of Allah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But how do we know what we have today is actually coming from him? Obviously, while he was alive, it was easier to verify reports. But after his passing, the following generations of Muslims faced some pressing issues. It was entirely possible in the time since then, a hadith could have been paraphrased or altered or even fabricated. And this was in fact a real problem for the Muslims. Imam al-Dhahabi reports in Tazkirat al-Huffaz, once a heretic was brought to the Khalifa of the Abbasid era, Harun al-Rashid, who ordered for his execution. He asked, "Why are you executing me?" The Khalifa replied, "To relieve the worshippers of you and your heresy." The heretic pressured him further, saying, "What can you do about the 1,000 narrations that I attributed to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, although he did not utter a single letter of them?" Harun al-Rashid then said to him, "O enemy of Allah, and what can you do about Abu Ishaq al-Fazari and Ibn al-Mubarak, who will sift through them and extract them one by one?"
الأيام تفعل ما تشاء وطب نفسا إذا حكم القضاء ولا تجزع لحادثة الليالي فما لحوادث الدنيا بقاء.
Scholars of Hadith like Ibn al-Mubarak acted as a bulwark against the liars and revisionists, but they also served a more important function in the Islamic cause. They supplied the scholars of fiqh, Islamic law, with the authentic resources they needed to strengthen the Muslim world's legal system at a time in which it was expanding rapidly. To find out which reports were reliable, the sciences of hadith were developed. Hadiths are transmitted via a chain of narrators who pass on the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. The names of each narrator in each chain is usually mentioned in the hadith itself. It's the job of the scholar, in simple terms, to verify, one, the reliability of each narrator in the chain, and two, establish proof that they actually heard the hadith from the person before them. These are the two main aspects of verification, but each must have rigorous conditions applied to them in which the rank of each hadith strength is graded. Imam Bukhari famously applied strict regulation in order to compile an authentic collection of Sahih hadith, seeking out narrations from only the most trustworthy characters. Among them was a man exemplary in character and dedication, the Muhaddith, the Mujahid, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak. Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak rahimahullah was born in Maru in the year 113 after Hijrah. His father was a Turkish slave who was working with a Khorasani family. His master was so impressed with his taqwa and upright character that he offered him his daughter's hand in marriage. So, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak was raised by humble, righteous parents, which caused the love of Allah to grow in his heart. Ibn al-Mubarak traveled throughout the Muslim world, collecting ahadith and becoming an expert in the science of jarh wa ta'dil, authentication of the hadith. Imam Ahmad rahimahullah said about him, "There was no one during the time of Ibn al-Mubarak who sought knowledge more than he did. He traveled to Yemen, Egypt, Sham, Basra, and Kufa. He was from the narrators of knowledge, and he was well deserving of that. He wrote from the young and from the old. He wrote from Abdurrahman ibn Mahdi, and he wrote from Al-Fazari. He has indeed gathered a great matter." His dedication to the deen was to the extent that he became an expert in many fields, attested to by many of the ulama, such as Imam al-Dhahabi, as we mentioned prior, and Imam al-Nawawi, Ibn Kathir. We could go on, listing his many virtues, subhanAllah. He was also a successful merchant, learning the trade from one of his teachers, Imam Abu Hanifa. There are countless stories of his generosity and zuhd, his detachment from the dunya. Ibn Kathir reported on Al-Badaya wa Nihaya, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak's practice of making hajj and making jihad on a regular basis. Among his acts of worship is his consecration in Ribat, fighting on the frontiers of the Muslim world and expanding them further. His life could have been one filled with luxury, filled with ease, yet he rebuked this and admonished the ulama of his time from staying idle and sitting at the doors of the rulers. Ibn Abi Sukayna said, "In Tarsus in the year 177 after Hijrah, Ibn al-Mubarak gave me a letter with the following verses. I bid farewell to him and went to deliver it to Fudail ibn Iyad. I met Ibn Iyad in the Haram with this letter, and when he read it, tears came to his eyes.
عابد الحرمين لو أبصرتنا لعلمت أنك بالعبادة تلعب من كان يخضب خده بدموعه فنحورنا بدمائنا تتخضب يا عابد الحرمين لو أبصرتنا لعلمت أنك بالعبادة تلعب من كان يخضب خده بدموعه فنحورنا بدمائنا تتخضب ولقد أتانا من مقال نبينا قول صحيح صادق لا يكذب ولقد أتانا من مقال نبينا قول صحيح صادق لا يكذب لا يستوي وغبار خيل الله في أنف امرئ ودخان نار تلهب.
And he said, indeed, Abu Abdurrahman, speaking about Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, has indeed told the truth and has certainly advised me. At the age of 63, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak realized he was reaching the end of his life. It's reported that his bondsmen wept upon him, seeing him in this condition, and said, I remember you used to live in such comfort, but today you die in poverty and as a stranger. Ibn al-Mubarak replied, don't say that, for truly I have asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to let me live the life of the rich and die the death of the poor. When news of this hadith reached the Abbasi ruler, Harun al-Rashid, he said, today the leader of the scholars has passed away. Hudayl ibn Iyad, his longtime friend and companion, said, by the Lord of this house, the Kaaba, my eyes have never seen the likes of Ibn al-Mubarak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon him. None have come after him or in any way like him. In the year 181 after the hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after returning from battle during the blessed month of Ramadan, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak passed away. Brothers and sisters, from the lives of those who gave their lives for the sake of Allah, for the success of this deen, we can learn a lot of lessons. In the example of Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, we see somebody who, from an early age, really spent so much time, really dove into the path of knowledge, really trying to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to give everything that they can for this deen. And he did that, Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak did that in his time, in his wealth, and his life. He put it all on the line, subhanAllah. And because of his actions, we know what Rasulullah ﷺ wanted for his ummah to follow. Really, this is a priceless contribution. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it for him and grant him even greater ranks in the akhirah. Truly, inshallah, we can benefit from this by understanding how the sciences of hadith work, how the rules and the hukum in Islam are extracted, and in addition, having that vision for what we want to do, what we want to give, inshallah, for the sake of Allah, for the success of this deen. Jazakumullahu khairan for tuning in. As for the person for next week, this is somebody who I've been meaning to get to for a long time. This is somebody who lived in Tunisia. They're a polymath with a focus in history, and their contributions to the study of history and the study of sociology come in two major components. They talk a lot about this idea of asabiya, which is an Arabic word. Asabiya means kind of a group feeling as a motivating force in a society. And they also talk about the cyclical nature of empires, how empires rise and then they reach their peak and then they fall. Again, somebody who lived in Tunisia, somebody who was a historian, and somebody who wrote about the cyclical nature of empires as well as asabiya. I'm gonna let you figure that out, do some research, inshallah, and type your guesses in the comments below. We'll see you soon, inshallah. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.